Hello.
Hello.
Everyone. We just saw this comment pop up. Chloe, she did. She did.
Yeah. And I had 11 whole minutes to spare.
You did it.
Yeah.
I'm proud.
Did I finish the book, or did the book finish me?
That is the question.
It's for anyone that doesn't know. Meg binged the Last Hours trilogy and then binged Lady Midnight. The wrong order, I am aware, but it's fine. She'd already read the first two Last Hours, so the damage had been done.
Now, confirm 100%, you should definitely not read them that way.
See? I was reading I wasn't reading physically. I was reading Chain of Thorns and I was like, oh, please don't read this before reading Lady Midnight.
No, bad idea.
There is a reason I have the order.
Yeah.
But hello, Catherine. Hello.
Buddy!
Meg, are you okay?
I'm not okay, and every time I think of this book, it just reminds me of how not okay I am. I just want to get to Lord of Shadows, but I can't go straight onto it because we've got like another month before the next live show, so I need to pace myself.
See, I feel like I'm okay with not immediately going on to Lord of Shadows, because like the cliffhanger exists, but it's not like...
Yeah, but I read it 3 weeks ago because I'm a dickhead, and rather than leaving it to like the last minute, I was like, oh, I'll read it earlier, and I was like, this may be too early.
I mean, it's good reading it early, but maybe not as early. So maybe wait until like the second week of March.
Nice midpoint between us two is sort of what we want to aim for.
Not mid part of March, mid part of February. I'm losing track of my days here. You knew what I meant, right?
I did know what you meant.
Hello.
Hi, Tilly.
Hello. Nearly didn't make it because we had unannounced visitors. I would have pretended I wasn't home.
Rude.
Like, I would have pretended I wasn't home. Right. I need to know, what were your ratings?
I mean, that was shit, so 2000.
Yeah, sure. Your voice notes said otherwise.
5!
I didn't have the time to voice note.
This is very fair.
I had thoughts. Like a 4.5, I think.
Fair.
5.
Fair.
But the more I go on, the more I think, was the Mortal Instruments really 5 stars for me? Probably not. But I think that was like a nostalgic 5 stars because I loved, unpopular opinion, I loved the series from what I watched. And
I feel like for you, nostalgia's the wrong word.
Well, not nostalgia. Like love for the
I know
series
what you
characters.
mean. For me, I do think it still gets 5 stars because of the nostalgia and because I'm so invested in the lives of these characters at this point that even those earlier books, I'm just like, I eat that up. It's like everything. Yeah. Love it so much.
I think the Mortal Instruments, apart from the third one, which I still stand by, was like, I think I put it as a 3. The rest are probably like a 4.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna change my ratings now. Like backtrack.
Is your least favourite?
4th one, sorry.
I was going to say the third one, like so much.
No. Technically, the start of the second trilogy that really felt like a first book. Yeah, that one. So that one, yeah. Because the Infernal Devices were like 5 stars peak, and then obviously the short stories and Tales of the Shadow Academy is not a short story, but we'll go with it. And then there was this, and I was like, no, this is 5. The vibes.
I mean, obviously, I gave it 5 stars, and I tabbed a lot. I do have annotations in this as well, and like some of the annotations I can I've made notes on, but some of them I can't because some of my tabs and annotations are things that it's like, this is foreshadowing for what happens later in the series, so I can't tell you that. But there is reading every time I read it back again, because I think this is the 4th or 5th time I've read this series now, and every time I read it I notice more things. this early on, and I'm like, oh, I got.
See, that was a reread of Nevernight for me, and I'm like, oh shit, this, and like things that you forget, and then obviously having spoken to Chloe, I'm just like, the rest of the series is gonna kill me. I swear to God.
5 stars, yes. 4.5.
Yeah.
4. I love this so much. I love this even more because this is like everyone's like least favorite series, and I'm like,
really?
This is my favorite.
I was
not
immediately
this
hooked.
book. This is. It's not my least favorite of the Shadowhunters books, but it's down there. But
really?
I still love it. Yeah. But it's not. It's not on this book. It's just the other books are just like up there, and this is just like up there, but not up there.
Oh, God.
Wait until you read Lord of Shadows and Queen of Air and Darkness and see if you still have that opinion. Guess you did not manage to read the book on time. To be fair, it was a reread. It was going to be a reread for you. So it's not like we can spoil anything because you read it in 2016 when it came out.
Sorry, late to the party.
Andy, bad. It's fine. I read it 2 years ago, so it's a bit fresher in Catherine's mind. Andy had a very good reason. She was reading Chain of Thorns. I got a couple of voice notes off of Andy because we'd been talking about it yesterday as well. And yeah, my mum is currently reading Chain of Thorns, and I don't think she's up to a certain chapter yet. Yeah. Yeah. Enough said about that. Don't worry, there's gonna be no spoilers for the last hours here. Spoilers for this book and anything released before. Don't worry. We will not be going into Chain of Thorns spoilers until the September live show.
I have no hope if Meg cried.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't.
Downgraded this to a 4 on this read. That's fair. 4's still a really good rating though. Feel like nothing's going to top Infernal Devices, but then the last hours may top that. I will say, for me personally, Infernal Devices I like more than the last hours, but I absolutely adore the last hours. But I feel like I'm just so invested in the Infernal Devices characters, and like I know the characters in Last Hours are amazing, but they're not. You know. We're not here to talk about Last Hours.
On Instagram, she was like, "This is no." I checked the caption. There was no spoilers for the actual books, but there was like a big, like long picture of all the characters, and then she did like individual close-ups of like all the characters. They all look so good. I'm excited.
Lisa, you will be broken.
If I make it past March, then yeah.
March is going to break you. So my first note was literally the first line of the first page, and it was just the prologue starts with Kit.
Yeah, because I messaged you about that, and I was like, oh my god, Kit! Like I think it's gonna be important going forward. Like I can't remember what I said to you, and you're like, oh, I forgot that you're meeting that early on, and I was like, there's a reason why Kit is here in this particular part. I know not what he is or what his purpose of the book is, but the fact that he's here in the prologue, I was like, he gonna be important.
And obviously, like, this is for anyone here, if you have not read this book, stop listening if you care about spoilers, because I'm going in spoilers now for later on in this book. Obviously, we find out why Kit is important later on in this book.
I want that short story. I want Tessa and Jen searching for the lost Herondale.
I want that.
What is that face?
I mean, you might get more information at some point. Maybe
it needs to be like its own short story of like the journey to find him. Because as soon as I was like, you slowly started making connections, but when that clicked, I was like, I did not expect that. I thought he was going to be someone special, and the more that it came around, and like they were talking about him, and then there was the whole like breaking in situation. I was like, okay, so he really, really is special. And then it was like that, and I was like, fuck.
The first time I read this book and the line Christopher Herondale, I like screamed and threw the book.
I literally just went. I was like reading out listening, obviously, because that's what I do now. I don't just physically read. And then as soon as it came out, I was like, ah! I'm glad nobody was here.
I was out loud at work said, "Whomst?" And someone in the break room with me was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Nope." And they just carried on reading my book. I was like, I do not have the time to explain.
But then it's Jem being like, the Carstairs will always owe the Herondales. And it was like, Jem, stop.
No, Jem had me emotional in this book. When there was a line, I took a picture of it because I was reading with my eyes and I just wrote it down. No, reading with my ears even. He said, I have a lot of experience being an uncle. And I was like, I want to rip this book in half. Why would you do that to me? Like, how dare you?
Yeah.
Oh, he's just the cutest and I love him so much.
I love the cameos in this. Like,
this can't beat Will and Jem.
No, they make me sad.
Last Hours haven't hit the spot for me this time.
That makes me sad.
Oh my god, Kit. Wasn't expecting him. I love Kit so much.
Yeah.
Like,
but now I'm like questioning like why he's been made to think Shadowhunters are so bad, and I feel really bad that he's been made to feel that way, because I was just like, that's a horrible. Why would you do that to a fucking child? Not Shadowhunters are good, and you just robbed him of. I mean, I know that there's like lives are constantly on the line.
I mean, you've met the Clave, right?
Yeah, well,
when Robert showed up in this, I was ready to fight. I was like, go away. We do not need you here.
Literally, they walk in, it's like, oh, Magnus, Clary, Jace. Oh, Robert.
That bit was epic. I love that bit.
The first chapter was amazing.
It was.
Like, anything in the Shadow Market is just so much fun. And like Emma and Cameron. Emma, my favourite thing, Emma breaking up with Cameron over the phone and be like, it's not you, it's me. I am sick of you. I was like, Emma is a mood. I love Emma. Like, if you don't love Emma Carstairs, you're lying.
Yeah. As soon as like we met her, and like I was just like, this bitch.
Like, I loved her in City of Heavenly Fire, but she was like 12, so she hadn't come out of her. She was still like very like quiet. Like, she was outgoing in the sense that like where being a Shadowhunter was concerned, she was like, yeah, I want to be like Jace and be like a legend. But now she's like grown into it, and she's actually got a personality now, and we're getting to see her personality. And I'm just like, I love her.
Speaking of personality, at times I was like, bitch, don't be Clary number 2. Because you're going off by yourself and doing your own shit and like getting yourself in trouble. Bitch, did you not learn from like the stories you probably heard of Clary?
Yeah, but you have got to think, Emma has literally was born into the Shadowhunter world. She actually has experience and training, so it's not as bad for her. She has the experience. She can do it. Like,
also,
she can
her
go
parents were murdered, and she doesn't want to drag Julian's family into like her nonsense.
Yeah.
So she's like, if anything happened to Julian's siblings, he would hurt, and that would hurt me. So I would just do everything by myself.
Yeah,
he's a moron, but I love her.
Yeah,
he's a noble.
The way she was doing that, and I was like, them keep a secret from each other. I'm like, you're parabatai. Talk to each other. Please stop this. Frustrated me. But I still.
Speaking of parabatai talking to each other, I did not expect them to have like love confessions in this book. I thought this was going to be a long, drawn out process. But no, it was like, no, we're going to tell each other, and then everything's going to go bad. And I'm like,
there's so much to go. Oh, like, I love that it doesn't mess around with the pacing in that sense, because it just gets straight in there, and like by the middle of the book, I think it's by the middle of the book, they've already, you know, had sex. Maybe a bit after the middle.
The thing with this one is as well, like, I think I mentioned this in the live where we discussed this when they became parabatai, when Simon had a feeling, and I was like, bitch, he has feelings for her, and they're becoming parabatai. Later down the line, this is going to bite them in the ass. And him not saying anything
me
was just
when they was having the conversation before they like confess feelings, and it was basically like, I wish we hadn't been parabatai, and it was like, don't start the sentence with that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Julian, I know you don't mean that, babe. Like,
Don't
I know you
lead with that.
Lead with feelings, and then
Be like, I love you. I wish we hadn't
yeah.
the ceremony. Not, I wish we hadn't been parabatai because I feel this way. Like,
Yeah.
Julian.
Not implied that you wish she was not in your life.
Yeah. I was like,
you
dude.
do have to remember, like, he is a 17-year-old boy, like, and whilst he's had to grow up very quickly to basically be a father figure to all of his younger siblings, he's still a teenage boy, and he's had no experience in feelings.
But that vibe, that whole thing where it was like he went to Little England because he thought he could like push his feelings aside and like forget those feelings and just come back and be privatized normal. And then like he's just a gem, like looking after his siblings and his fucking uncle.
And he did that from the age of 12. He's done that for 5 years. He has been a dad to his younger siblings. Because
I am one member of the Julian protection squad. Like, I will die for that boy. Like, he has been.
This is why when I went to the signing for Lord of Shadows, and Cassie said to me while she was signing my book, she was like, who is your favourite? And I was like, Julian, no, Mark. Oh, just the Blackthorn boys.
Yeah.
And there is a picture of her laughing at me saying that, because I could not decide. Because whilst, yes, I love Julian, he needs to be protected at all costs, but Mark, he's gone through so much, and it's just like,
I mean, there's trauma, and then there's trauma.
We did not leave Mark in a good place in this book either, and I have thoughts about that too.
Yeah.
No.
Becca being unsubtle. I mean, we might have answers later on, we might not. Cassie likes to make you wait for the answers. We should
I don't
know
want
this
answers so much as I just want to see Jem and Tessa like hanging out, living life.
Yeah. I love to see that. Just like living a normal life. Well, relatively normal is what you can do.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, Jem's not a shadow hunter anymore.
No.
Because when the Heavenly Fire... Yeah. When the Heavenly Fire, like, hit, like, that was it. He's just normal now. As normal as a, like, 100-and-something-year-old can be. One that looks like they're in their, like, very early 20s.
One that had been tortured by a demon, seen his best friend die, lived for hundreds of years, you know?
I've seen loved ones die as they age and he doesn't.
Seen the love of his life marry somebody else who he also loved fiercely, and then watch him die, and then realise that they're good together, and they're like, okay, maybe 200 years later we're getting together, we're fine, we can live a normal life now.
Cassie Clare's plots are so good. They are. It's trauma. When they confess their love, I scream.
Emotional damage.
I did not see it coming. I was like, what do you mean? We're in book 1.
Yeah. I had that same reaction.
But then you've got to think, they've tried the whole like sneaking around thing, and now Emma and Mark.
I'm like, what do you mean make it real, Mark? No.
Yeah, that was not a good way to end that book.
No. I'm like, okay, one, you're still not over your fairy ex-boyfriend. Like, have a minute.
Kieran.
2, you're not overseeing Christina make out with her ex, so like maybe have another minute. And 3,
I wanted that to be a thing. Why did Perfect
Diego.
Perfect Diego, I forgot his name. Why did Perfect Diego have to come along and just crush my heart to a million pieces? I mean, I didn't like his fairy ex-boyfriend. His fairy boyfriend was a twat. Let's just get him and Christina together.
I don't know. I was kind of vibing with Kieran.
I mean, absolutely not.
Your opinions of Kieran are going to change because he is going to grow on you. Like, Kieran is one of my favourite characters in this series. No, not like a fungus. No, he's amazing.
I'm just going to root for like a throuple now. I'm like, Perfect Diego can go back to Mexico, and then Christina, Mark, and Kieran, we can just have a good time with it. It's all okay.
The first throuple in a while.
Julian going to England to get away from Emma is so funny to me because my ex moved to China to get away from me
I think that's a bit more than we have time to unpack today.
I feel like you're going to need to tell me this story, like, not right now in this, because live show, and we'll end up being here for a while, but I'm going to need a message, please.
I also need to know what the fuck happened.
I need the background on this. Right? He is. Like, and considering he's been in Fairy all this time, with no one but Kieran.
A monogamous relationship with Kieran.
Well, yeah, because everyone else shunned them.
Yeah. Like, make it make
Which
sense.
I think is really cute that, like, him and Kieran sort of, like,
well, do you think
made their time bearable.
He went to Fairy and he's just, like, reverting back?
I don't know, because we don't have any information on him from before City of Heavenly Fire, but he was, like, what, 15, 16? Or actually, no, he was about... Yeah, he was about 15, 16. In... Because he was just too young.
The Shadowhunter books is, old enough to be a fuckboy or fall madly in love with someone, either or.
This is very true.
It's a thing.
But yeah, I was just like, boy, calm down.
I was like, how is that the last interaction we have though before the shocking moment at the end? I was like, okay. I had a whole of 10 minutes to process that before coming here. I was like, what do you mean?
Already love Kieran. Yes.
No.
Read the short story in the anniversary edition. It was so cute. I am pretty sure I've read that, but I don't have that edition on me. That edition is upstairs. Yeah, it's upstairs.
Is it this one? I don't. Did I read the short story?
What is the? Can you remind me what the name of the short story is?
I have like the very first paperback.
This one.
No,
Stars to Burn.
Paperback with the sprayed edges.
Stars to Burn. But Mark and Kieran. I might like Kieran now. It's called Stars to Burn.
That.
Okay, I need to read that. I didn't realise that was a thing.
I need to reread that.
I didn't read that.
I need to reread that because I haven't read that since I literally got that edition of the book and like went and read it instantly because I love it. Kieran is wonderful. Please keep faith. Yes, listen to me and Caroline. Like, trust me. When have I ever steered you wrong?
Never actually.
Exactly. Trust me. Right. Can we talk about how trusting, like, well, not how trusting, how quickly Christina has earned Emma's trust, with Emma straight up being like, this was on like page 34, and Christina's only been there a few weeks.
Yeah.
And Emma's like, let me show you my wall of crazy. Which is me like,
Christina.
Well, she
this
was
is everything.
Like, in another life, we could have been Parabatai. And I was like, oh, that hurts.
Oh.
Like, that hurts because you shouldn't be Parabatai with your current Parabatai.
Like, if only
you should have waited a few years.
Yeah, if only you could like just be like, I don't want to be your Parabatai because I want to date you, so I'm just gonna move over here. Like,
but it very much makes sense why they became Parabatai, because Emma was an orphan. She would have been sent off to the academy. She would probably never have seen Julian again, and Julian needed as much support as he could get. He'd already lost his parents.
Yeah.
Like, Emma had lost her parents, and then Julian also lost his two oldest siblings. One because of Fairy.
So little in this book.
I know. It's literally like mentioned that, yeah, she's on Wrangel Island. She got married. Cool. Can we have some more interaction,
Is she
please?
okay? Like, she's married, but how's she be doing?
Back now.
It's like, it's been a few years, people. Are we still on that fucking Fairy hate train? Just because she's a half-blood? Like,
yes,
what the
very
hell?
much so. Like,
they're very much
the Fairy hatred.
No, I mean, like, hating her because she's half Fairy. Like,
yeah. I imagine we
Christina
might see some half Fairy hatred when more people learn that Mark is, there. And I'm not looking forward to that.
You're going to really start to hate the Clave even more in this series.
I've been warned about that. Like,
yeah,
I am not going to be okay when this happens. I am going to be voice noting you and doing, like, the random keyboard smashing that I do when I don't know what to fucking say.
It's a pterodactyl screech into the phone.
I can't wait to see just how angry these books make you.
Oh, God. Am I going to angry cry? I don't want to angry cry.
you're going to cry a lot. There might be some angry crying in there.
Oh.
All I remember is tears. I don't remember how much of it was angry tears, sad tears, happy tears.
Tears
There was just tears. Trust me. Yeah.
I would have shed tears had anything happened to Tavi.
Oh, Tavi. Can we just talk about how adorable Tavi is when he's like, don't run with lollipops. And then, did I help with the whole kids story? And it's like,
sweet. He like solved everything basically. And he was like, was that helpful? Did I do a good job? And I was like, oh my God, I want to squash your cheeks. What the fuck?
Like, he is adorable, and the fact that he still has nightmares. And then he's like, and then Julian's like there when he has the nightmares, because he's an amazing big brother / dad, because he is the dad.
He is dad. He is dad.
Him and Emma sleeping next to him at the very end when he was scared. No.
Tavi was just it. Like, especially when you listen to the audiobooks, they put enough like in his voice and his like in his personality when they flicked to his like him talking to make you like totally like love him as like a little being. And it was just honestly, that whole lollipop situation, I was laughing. And I was like, because in my head, I can see a little kid standing there going, don't run with lollipops.
and when Mark was in charge and they came back and Tavi was just in a bag of sugar. Drew was drinking some random concoction and then throwing it back up.
This what made me sick. And it's like,
I completely understand Julian going off on one of them, because like when Mark's just like, you said keep them alive, and it's like, wow, the bar, you hit the lowest bar there. But like, it's not Mark's fault. Yeah. However, at least not Tavi. Tavi's too young, but Drew to an extent, because she's 13. But definitely Ty and Livy. Come on.
They knew what they were doing. I feel for Mark though, because he's been in fairy for God knows how long. Like, he doesn't know how to be anymore. The responsible one.
But the thing is, we don't know exactly how much time has passed for him. 5 years has passed in the human world, but we don't know exactly how many years passed. Like, he still looks young, but that's because fairy time works differently. We don't know how much time actually passed in fairy.
Yeah, exactly.
He wouldn't have aged in fairy. That's a long time to be away from your family.
Yeah.
A long time just to be naming stars and just being like,
oh, the naming of the stars.
But also, can we he really reminded me. It happens before Tavi with the whole kids book, but when he says about that map's incorrect when they're looking at the ley lines, and then he's like, did I help? Was that helpful? And Ty's just like, yeah, we would have been set back for days if you hadn't told us this, because we would have been looking at the wrong map. And Mark's just like, okay, because that's the first time Mark has come to them and been like, hi, I'm Mark, your brother.
Yeah, I know stuff.
I don't think that you're just illusions meant to torture me.
Sorry, that was horrible. Oh. I just wanted to run over to him and just take him up and cuddle him and be like, it's okay. They are real. They are your family. You're safe. And then the note that got sent through, and I was like, they just totally spiraled him. And I was just like, and the way that Christina handled it, again, new to the academy, new to the whole family.
But that was the best thing, because he even said that to her. She had no preconceived ideas of who Mark was, and he didn't have to try and. Yeah, but the fact that he didn't have to try and act like who she thought he should be, because they had never met. She doesn't know anything about him other than he is the big brother, and he's been in fairy for years.
He's important to Emma and therefore everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. And just with the fact that she just stepped in and she was just like, I know you don't know me that well, and I'm new to you guys, but this is how I think we should deal with it. And even though they didn't particularly like it, they were like, right, okay, we'll do whatever we can. And the fact that there was there's none of this arguing. They were just like, right, okay, I'll. She was there to help. She went up in my estimations then as well.
I just remembered when she's like cutting his hair, and he's like, "Are you gonna cut my throat? I'm gonna cut your hair."
I loved when he was like, "Yo, want to hook up?" and she was like, "Well, it's not who you think it is."
Perfect example of why becoming paralyzed should be a spur of the moment decision. I feel like that's supposed to say should not be a spur of the moment decision. I mean, if you look at Simon and Clary, like, look at what they had to go through.
Oh my god.
Like
trauma. Oh, the books are trauma.
This is Christine. She saved my life 16 times this summer, so be nice.
Yeah. Again, the immediate connection like between those two, and the fact that like she has her own beliefs, and she's very much like wants to be by the book, but because she cares so much for, I nearly called her Clary then, Emma, because she cares so much for her, like by proxy, she then cares for the Blackhorns, and she will do everything she can to help her, even if she knows that bad shit might go down. She's just like, I got you.
And also, it's really nice to see a character that's just been brought in. They've never met, like they've not like grown up with the characters we know that are good people, and like this brand new character has come in, met the characters we know, and he's like, yeah, the cold piece sucks. Not all fairies should be punished. And it's like, see, there are some nice people out there. There's some nice shadow hunters that don't like just take the actions of a few and punish everyone.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's nice to see that, because 9 times out of 10 you meet someone new and they're like, yeah, but the cold piece is necessary. And it's like, no, it's really not. Get in the bin. Go where you belong.
Also, I just think from a storytelling standpoint, she was really necessary, because like obviously the short stories, the Black Fonts, like they show up and there's like bits and pieces of them. But it's very rare to go into a book series like being expected to know who all of the characters are and just jump right in. Normally you've got like a single person who is like new, who like you then join the story through, and then you learn everything as you go. And so like from a narrative standpoint, it was important to have Christina, because then you have someone who needs to have things explained to them, so that you then get the information that is important. Because like part of why I think I struggled to get into this book is because like obviously I know who they all are, but we just jumped straight in. We were just like, right, okay, like we've not got any build up. We're just in the story. Everything's happening, and I'm like, I care about these characters, but I don't really care about them enough yet. So like, what is making me pick up this book? But then we had Christina, who also didn't really know what was going on. I was like, right, okay, I can follow through with you. Me and Christina.
And it didn't feel like an info dump, because she was learning and we were getting to learn with her.
I mean, the whole breakfast making situation, just I just love how they have like family meals.
We said pancakes. Did you forget? No, I didn't forget. Hi. It's like, stop it. Like literally,
Ty.
This family. The
fact that, do you know what, like the fact that like Ty is not outwardly said like autistic, but obviously that's what it's alluding to. They don't have a word for it in like their world, but the fact that they're
obviously they don't follow mundane medicine, so they don't know all of the words.
They would basically treat him like he's crazy, and the way that they know that they need to like baby him in a way, the same way they're having to baby their uncle, because like he's having to baby his uncle, because like any slight of change in what they believe like the mind should be is like you're deemed as crazy and you're written off, and that they're going to treat Ty differently just because the way that he thinks. And I was just like, I fucking hate anyone who hurts Ty, and no one's even hurt yet.
One thing I love about Julian is that Julian, even though they've had no like, they've not got a diagnosis because they can't go like through the mundane medicine route, but Julian knows how to help Ty, like with the sayings, teaching him what the different sayings mean, so that when someone says it, he doesn't like get confused. He knows what they mean. And like with the whole headphones thing, letting him. And when Arthur walked in and told him to take off those headphones, I was like, Arthur, get in the bin. Leave, go back up to your attic.
He's got his own stuff going on. I get it.
Yeah.
Arthur can go. He can just.
Do you know what the solution would be,
quietly
though? Yeah. The solution: get Ty some wireless headphones. I know he does like the wire, but a lot of it is for the noise cancellation. Get him some wireless headphones.
Yeah.
I mean, I do need to remember that this is set in like 2000, early 2000s. Is it 2013? Wait, 13?
That's not early 2000s.
No, I was thinking it's 2012. No, I was thinking 2007, but that's the more instruments. But yeah, 2012. This starts in like. But yeah, I've just I would die for Ty. Ty is amazing.
They're all just great. Now I know why you like the Blackthorns so much. When you're like, the Blackthorns are my favorite, just the Blackthorns. And I was like, okay, so what are they going to bring that other characters can't? I mean, I don't know what. I mean,
one, it's nice to see a healthy family dynamic that's not in series that other people haven't read yet. Like it's just nice to see like without like the parental figure, it's nice to see just like siblings, like so many of them, so it's a large family, just like have very few issues going on, like
and the issues they do have are just normal sibling bickering. Like there's no like major like things going on, it's just like stupid little things,
and they all love and protect each other, and they all of them understand Ty, and just like the fact that they all rally around each other, and the fact that Drew wants to get involved even though she's too young, and she just wants to do her bit, but like they all respect Julian as well. And
speaking of Drew, when she was saying what their great aunt had said about her size, and Emma's like going into full-on protective mode, like, what did she say? Like, I love it so much.
But that's a typical thing, though, isn't it? That's like a very normal thing to do to protect her when they say something like that. So,
and the thing is, even though Emma's not a Blackthorn, she has literally grown up with this family. She is part of that family. Like, no matter what, they see her as like a sister. Like, she's helped Julian raise them. Like, I love them. I've just realised that there are comments coming through. We're just like getting really into talking about it. Crying, oh, so many sobs and wows, but there will be some shouting and wanting to shout. And hot some and shake some sense. I mean, yeah, you're going to want to shake some sense into some characters at some points. I'd be more upset if anything happened to Ty. Ty is an adorable little cinnamon roll bean, and he needs to be protected at all costs. The bare minimum.
Ty has more chance of defending himself. Tavi's like a baby.
Yeah.
Tavi,
I don't think has even had his first marks yet.
Like
he's like what, 7 or 8?
Throw knives.
Yeah.
Just fucking savage. Keep your headphones on, but you can throw knives.
The kitchen scene. Oh yeah, it was, should not be. Do feel on this read though, this series will go up in my favour, the relationship. She's laying the foundations. Bless you.
Thank you. Came out of nowhere.
She's laying the foundations for I do feel that Cassie is so progressive. Like, her characters get better. I would die for Ty. Join the club. We'll make a club.
I feel like we didn't get enough of like Ty, Livy, Drew, and Tavi. Like we got a lot of Mark, Emma, and Julian, obviously, because like they're older, they were doing more things. But I feel like I didn't really get to know much about Livy and Drew, especially.
Throughout the trilogy, you will get to know the others a little bit better. Like obviously, the main focus is like Emma and Julian and Mark and that, but like you will get to know the others.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. I was so angry at Arthur.
Really, I was there.
I don't blame you. I was like I was fuming. I was like, you can't punch the book. The book has done nothing wrong. It's the character in the book.
But in defense of Arthur, he did back up Julian when he mentioned the pizza.
Yes.
That's the only thing
that was so clever. So clever.
Julian is a bad bitch. Like, where did that come from? How long has he been preparing that? Like, what?
Like, I'm in awe of that boy. Like, he is just so smart. Like,
savage.
I'm obsessed with him.
Julian is an old head on young shoulders, and Ty at this stage, Cassie wrote him so well. And I love the whole, like, the fact that even though, we're not supposed to have mundane things, but they have car, they have phones, they have a computer for Ty to research things like Sherlock Holmes and that. And I'm just like...
Okay, but you can buy books out of Shadowhunters like cold dead hands. Like, can you imagine if Will Herondale had not been a reader? He would just not have existed. Like, that was his entire character.
That was also how him and Tessa started bonding over books.
He was like a hopeless romantic trapped in like a tortured like shell, and the only way he could express himself was through angsty quotes from literature he'd read. Like,
yeah, honestly, Will was just.
Ty is such a sweetie. I love him so much.
I mean, I don't think it was great.
Can we just appreciate Ty sneaking into the car with Emma and Julian and then holding this boy he's never met with a knife to his throat?
Like,
I mean, he thought he was a bad guy, so it's like, I don't know if you're good or bad.
But can we appreciate the first thing Kit thinks when he sees Ty is, like, he has beautiful eyes? Like, Kit, what?
He's a bit fruity.
This boy has a knife pointed at you, and you're just looking into his eyes.
Different strokes for different folks, you know?
This is not the time, people. Not the time.
We do love Will. We'll always love Will.
R.I.P. Will.
I'm trying to think of, this is like a really little thing, but like Simon's old band that he's no longer in being called the Mortal Instruments is just such a cute little Easter egg moment. I was like, hey!
Yeah, I love that.
Also, the Scholomance. We learned some little things about, we've never really had the Scholomance mentioned much before, and now we're starting to learn. So obviously we knew about the academy, but we didn't really know about the Scholomance. And now you've met Perfect Diego, who is Centurion from the Scholomance, and we're going to get to learn
famous
about
Centurion. Like, I didn't even know Centurion.
Perfect.
You're a famous one.
Perfect Diego.
Perfect.
Ugh.
Like, the one thing I didn't like is the miscommunication thing between Christina, Perfect Diego. Because that's the miscommunication job I don't like, when you hear half a fucking conversation and then run off thinking that you know everything, and that's exactly what she did. And I'm like, bitch, stay
but then he was like, yeah, he said all that before. When he gets drunk, he says it all the time. I'm like, where has this conversation been? Like, I'm with Christina on that one. She should have known. I don't care if he was waiting. Like, you don't wait for that kind of conversation. The woman you're in love with is like really in a deeply committed friendship with your brother, who thinks that she's like the scum of the earth. No, you tell her.
I'd have been pissed at him for that, but then to her to be like, he doesn't love me and he never loved me, for her to just go down that spiral because of what she heard him say. I mean, yeah, he's a scum of the earth and he needs to be like yeeted off a cliff. That's just facts. But yeah, I would have stayed for like the full conversation.
I feel like human behavior is, if you hear someone saying, oh, we need to like defeat them, and you're just casually sat there waiting for them to finish, then like maybe the person watching that conversation is like, oh well, they don't care either because they're just casually in this conversation. They're not adamantly defending me. This is not the first time this has happened. Like, this feels like something they've discussed before. I'ma just cut my losses.
I'm just going to get out of here, bye.
Yeah, and nothing would have gone well because Christina was obviously very important to the plot.
Yeah, I don't mind Perfect Diego. Yeah, I don't mind Perfect Diego being in the story. I just didn't want her to immediately be like back in his arms, like.
Oh yeah,
because like you said, even if that was the case, and he did still really love her, blah, blah, blah. He didn't defend it to his brother. So
I feel like it might be like the Maya Jordan situation where, like, you know, she thought he was dying, they have like their moment, and then she's like, actually, this was a bad idea.
Yeah.
I'll like this, actually.
But Mark walking in and then just like sneaking back out, and it's like, Mark, you should have stopped them.
Immediately hitting on Emma. Let's let's not think of Mark too pitifully in this situation.
Just after
I mean, to be fair,
officially with his
right, he is hitting on her, but she's literally just asked him to be like her fake boyfriend, and he's like, well, it can not be fake, and it's like he's shooting his shot
with the person.
Come on,
like, I'm not mad at him for shooting his shot. I just don't feel like we can feel too sorry for him because Christina shot her shot with someone else.
Why are we shooting people, guys?
But to be fair,
because they're very violent people.
Christina had literally been saying how she doesn't want to talk about Diego, and then he walks in on her kissing him. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
I think that,
he defended them in front of the Inquisitor, and he almost died for them. Like,
okay, fair, but still,
most people's opinion.
He still almost killed Julian.
Oh my god! Never forgive
still
him.
not a fan. However,
let's talk about the runes. The rune, that rune should not have saved him.
They should both be dead.
Is it because their love is a romantic love that they're doing something to their runes? As hinted by, not hinted by, as specifically almost confirmed by Malcolm.
Oh, no, let's not get to him yet.
Hinted by Malcolm.
Yeah,
you were right the first time.
Sorry, I'm late to the party, but I just need to state that Mark and Christina are angels, and I'll not hear any different. I mean, technically, yes, they are angels because they're Shadowhunters. But yes,
Mark,
they are. I love
Mark. He's
Mark
having
and
a
Christina
moment right now, and I'm not quite sure that I can say nothing against him. Like, I love him, but he's having a moment.
A very bad moment.
Mark took a shot being in fairy skewed his values. Yeah, he's like, I feel like he's still catching up to the world.
Yeah.
And he's trying to do it all in one go.
Yeah, but
it's
like,
dude, calm down.
Like,
he did say that.
Like, he also made Ty cry and then run off. So
yeah.
But he did say that, like, in fairy, like, you give your heart to one person, but then you can still basically screw around. So giving your body is different to giving your heart, obviously. Hence why Christina was like, "I'm good. If you think like that, I'm good, bro."
But the thing is, that's normal for Mark to think that, just like it's normal for Christina to not think that. So it's like you've got to think about, like, he's been in fairy for so long, like his views are very, very different, but they're normal to him, and like he doesn't know how to talk to Ty yet. He hasn't learned. Like, so him making Ty cry, as much as I was like, Mark, stop.
But I was also 100% like
understand.
agreeing with Mark. I was like, yeah, Mark is not capable of leading your family. Like, and you should have a conversation with Julian. Like,
yeah,
it's a nice sentiment. Like, Ty's trying to do that for Julian because Julian's had to be the parent.
You can feel that Ty is doing it on Julian's behalf, but the way he phrases it makes it just sound like he's just trying to get Julian out of the way because Mark is the older.
It's just like, come on, the older one's back. You can look after us now. No. Yeah. After the kitchen incident, you don't want that. If he thinks just keeping you alive is like, you know, the base, you don't want him looking after you. This is another like off topic, like off that thing. Can we appreciate that there's a birth control rune? Like, and I think it's very, very well done as well. Like, go Clary. It took the non like the person who hasn't grown up in Shadowhunter world to bring this in, because if you think about it, as Shadowhunters, you're not allowed like mundane medicine. What birth control were they using before? Like,
I don't want to think.
Is this why the Blackthorn? Is this why the Blackthorns is such a big family? Like,
is that their dad and mum shot their shot, didn't they?
Are they just using like old timey herbs and shit from like when witchcraft was a thing? Like, what is happening?
Probably.
Oh,
go to a wall to get an elixir, that kind of shit.
Also, another thing that I kept writing notes. This is not relevant to the plot at all, but it really annoyed me. It's the only thing that's truly like really annoyed me about Cass's writing before. When Emma and Julian go to visit Malcolm, and those like movie producers are there, and they unfreeze, and they look really confused because like, how has a 27-year-old got a niece and nephew in their teens? Cassie, did you not know how like nieces and nephews work? Like, My oldest nephew is 8 years younger than me. Cassie, come on.
Yeah.
Every time I read it, I'm like, oh, it's really frustrating. Like, of course, a 27-year-old can have a niece and nephew in their teens.
If they're a pair
Like,
of twins, or call them eyeglasses.
It's just...
There's literally no need for that comment.
But yeah, that's not relevant to this at all. It just really annoys me every single time. I made a note, and I need to remind myself what it was on, because my note is just, imagine having not read Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy.
Is it about Simon and Izzy?
Nope. About one of those hopeless humans is the father of my child, Magnus pointed out. Magnus had not ever been pregnant, though that would have been interesting, Emma thought. He and Alec Lightwood had an adopted warlock child named Max, who was a scintillating shade of navy blue. Imagine if you hadn't read Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, you'd be like, who is Max? Who is this, like...
Blue child.
Blue child. It's just like, this is why you read them.
And then there was a Lost Herondale at the end. You'd be like, what? Okay. Was this just like, no, you've gone into this so little. Like, there's so little information you've just given me about this Lost Herondale. If you had not read the story of Katerina literally telling Simon about it, I'd have been like, this was very glossed over. Like, what do you mean?
What do you
just threw the name Tobias out there like it was nothing.
Markham the fur coat. No, this like didn't annoy me like the whole kitchen scene, because like Ty and Livy, like this is a good prank. The kitchen scene letting Mark just let them get away with everything was not cool, but the fur coat was hilarious. That is a good sibling prank. Like, just like, yeah, you could just wear the fur coat, nothing else.
Completely new, not even like shoes, just a fur coat. Obsessed.
I was like, oh my god, like, oh my god. Like, that whole situation would have been like really awkward. And he's like, what? Am I not supposed to do this? And
it's not formal wear.
Nope.
Am I overdressed?
No,
but like, it was nice that like Julian and Mark got to like laugh about it. I was like, oh, a nice moment in the midst of all the terrible happenings.
I also love when Christina and Emma were in the shop buying clothes, and like Emma's just like, you have to get that dress. It makes your boobs look amazing. It's like teenage girls.
Yeah.
It did make me think of, like, if you've seen Stranger Things series 4, where Steve and Robin are in the car and Steve's just like, boobies. And I wrote that as an annotation in my book as well.
I was listening to that at my desk at work, and I was like, I feel like they've been talking about boobs for a second. And I was like, have I heard that right? And I had to go back, and I was like, I don't have the time to go backwards. Like, I'm really cutting it close today. I was like, let me just double check that. And I was like, nope, yeah, they're just talking about how great Christina's tits look in this dress. Like, love that, I guess.
Well,
speaking of, Lisa was buying new clothes and almost forgot the life.
Going back to the comment about Magnus not being pregnant, I love how she feels like she had to put that in there. Like, even though the warlock, he didn't actually get pregnant. They just adopted this child. And I was just like, you know, the fact that she felt like that had to be in there as a statement, I was like, okay.
Also think Mark actually didn't 100% understand fairy. He was manipulated there, definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
Makes me wonder what Shadowhunters did before. Were they just raw dogging it? There's a lot of children, and also, have Shadowhunters not heard of demon pox?
Well,
Lightworm.
I mean, Mark did seem sort of taken aback by the thought of an STD, though. So
yeah.
It's like, I don't have syphilis. Oh, that whole scene of the diner was so funny because it was supposed to be a really serious scene, and Mark's just like, I'm gonna go ask her for a lettuce.
I'm just gonna go steal this bitch's salad. Bye.
And also the fact when he ordered, he was like, I'd like a plate of strawberries. And she's like, that's not on the menu. It's like, you have strawberries on this. Can I just have a plate of strawberries? A very fair point, Mark. They have them.
She was like,
they should be able to put some
you
on
have
plate.
strawberries, and I have seen you with plates. Could you not put them together for me? And they were like, what do I say to that?
Siobhan was like,
he was like, a bowl would do.
He's like, a bowl or plate, it doesn't matter, just strawberries.
Yeah.
Clary coming through for once. Yeah. Clary making that rune. Nicely done.
Yeah.
For once.
She's made quite a few good runes, I feel like. You know, the rune that like joined them like with Downworlders and helped defeat everyone in the Dark War. That was a pretty good one. But I feel like the birth control one is probably the best one.
Yeah.
It's gonna have the most long lasting effects, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it can happen.
Being dead is a long lasting effect for somebody.
I feel like some people might be mad about it because obviously lack of shadow hunters at the moment. If you then reduce the amount of accidental pregnancies, like.
But to be fair, they also have reopened the academy, and they, like, according to Johnny Rook, they're like, you know, kidnapping kids with the sight. It can happen. My dad has a nephew that's a few months older than him. Yeah, it doesn't. The age thing doesn't matter. It depends on
who you're related to.
Yeah, like if there's a big age gap between you and your siblings, then of course it can happen. Hadn't read it, but I was just really happy for Magnus and Alec. It's so cute. You should read Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. There's lots of important information. It's not short stories.
No.
A lot of people think it's just short stories that are irrelevant, but they're really, really relevant, and it very much follows a plot.
It literally should not be called a short story collection for that one. It literally, it's just a story of someone going through the years at the Shadowhunter Academy. Highly recommend. It might break you, but what can the book done?
I was so excited when Kit was revealed as the Lost Herondale. I knew about it before reading, but was still happy to finally read the reveal story. Yeah. It's just like, possibility of Magnus being capable of pregnancy is not something that would shock me, not gonna lie.
Same.
Yeah. A warlock's not like infertile, they're not like sterile. Is that not a thing?
Yeah, because Tessa's like the only one that can, and that's only because she's half Shadowhunter.
Oh yeah.
So, like it would shock me because it goes against everything we've ever learned about warlocks.
Yeah.
The fact that if he wasn't a warlock and just decided that, like, hey, go get some magic and become pregnant because he wanted to, like, I see that from a personality standpoint. Sure.
Jason Clary did use condoms the first time, but that was because Clary has grown up in the mundane world and she knows about actual birth control.
Yeah, but did she have to take it to hell? Like, what did, like?
I mean, if you was going to hell with your boyfriend and you thought you was probably gonna die, although to be fair, if you thought you was gonna die, you wouldn't need the protection. But there's always the chance. Be safe. Always be safe. Better safe than sorry. Because then if you don't die,
I feel like
your life goes to hell, but let's not get pregnant.
Exactly. Smart. Clary could be smart sometimes.
They were in hell. There was no one on guard. They were just like sleeping together. And I'm like, any kind of demons could be just roaming around, and you're literally just like in the throes.
I mean, to be fair, weren't like the other three in like the entrance of the caves? So anything would have had to get past them.
I feel like I would not have wanted to have sex so close to my friends.
No.
I mean, they were pretty far away. They went through a lot of caves. Look, they thought they were going to die.
They should have thought about that before they went to hell.
They were trying to save Clary's mother again.
Fucking Jocelyn.
Nothing will stop horny teens.
Facts.
Do you really want to read it? I definitely need to get to it soon. Yes. Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy is very underrated and still irks me we can't do it. Yes. Oh, but to be fair, I listened to the audiobook on YouTube because that was the only way I was going to be able to, and I wasn't a fan. I had to end up stop listening. Huh?
It had different narrators for each story, which I did not like.
Because it's the same character.
Made no sense. Made no fucking sense whatsoever.
I think it might have been because they were actually released as short stories, which baffles me. It doesn't make sense that they were released as short stories because they shouldn't be. But they were released as short stories, so it could be that people weren't available for each. But I feel like they should have thought ahead of that and been like, right, are you going to be available to do all of these? Because if not, next person.
And then the idiot that loaded them all onto YouTube decided to cut one of the stories, which is just cut it off.
Let's just imagine a pregnant Magnus, the cravings and mood swings. Oh my god, he's bad enough as he is. Like, could you imagine?
That'd be.
I feel like Jace had them because Clary was probably like, make sure you pack them. Because he wouldn't have known about them if it weren't for Clary and Simon. Like,
yeah.
But then look, Simon didn't go in there with condoms. He weren't expecting anything. Granted, Alec did walk in on them making out again.
With the roleplay.
Although the question is, with no birth control, how were Shadowhunters dying out? Well, because too many of them were pregnant, so they couldn't go out and fight. So the ones who were going out, there was less of them, so they were getting overwhelmed by all the demons.
No mortal cup, no new Shadowhunters to then procreate.
Yeah. But it's fine now. Re-record Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy Star Petition. Yes. I hope they do one day because it's like my favourite. Simon is a nerd. That is very fair. And let's be real, as much as I love Simon, he was punching like way above with Izzy. Like, come on.
That is true. That is very true.
I'm trying to.
Speaking of Simon and Izzy, they got engaged in this book.
Oh my god, yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Like, Jay showing up to their like engagement party in a maroon blazer. Like, who dressed you?
I mean, probably Magnus.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love them so much.
I love that. I did.
I'm trying to think what else. Oh, also this with the rune things. When Emma was drowning, Julian just started coughing up water. That's never happened with parabatized before. Like they're in pain, yeah, when but Julian they don't actually start.
Emma was coughing up blood.
Yeah. Oh, don't talk about the whipping. Oh my god, that broke me. It was just like the fact that she like knocked him out with a rune and took it like herself, and it was just like, no.
So the dog's gonna get hurt now. Like that was horrible.
And Mark having to watch. I was like,
I fucking hated those fairies that did that. Like heartless bastards.
And like, but the fact that Kieran had like sold Mark out, thinking the punishment would be that he had to come back, and they just twisted that for Kieran because they knew what they could do to hurt Kieran and Mark, and it was just like, okay, I can sometimes see why people hate fairies. Sometimes, not to the extent they do, but there are some things that I'm like, you are not good people. I don't like it.
Well, no, but then on the other hand, we have like Magnus, who we love, and Tessa, who are like warlocks, and then we have like Malcolm, who like
Malcolm. Yeah.
Can we not talk about Malcolm? I don't like.
We're gonna have to get to talking about Malcolm very soon. I'm sorry.
I thought he was gonna be more of a problem. What do you mean he died in book 1? That's wild.
Yeah.
Everything.
Maybe he did not.
I mean, what happened at the end?
But Simon walked in on Alec and Magnus, so it all turns around, works out. That's fair. But Simon's not related to either of those. Alec was walking in on Simon making out with his sister. I feel like it's a little bit worse. Although Simon walked in on Magnus and Alec doing more than making out. So I I feel like it kind of balances out. Yeah, fair. Along with the Bane Chronicles. Yeah. Has anyone read the short story about the engagement party? Yes, I have. Of course I have. This is me. I've read everything. Still don't know why Gwyn did that, and why does he have to have a Welsh name? I mean, I don't know why he has to have a Welsh name, to be fair. I can't answer.
I feel like a lot of stories about the Wild Hunt and about fays like originate from like Gaelic sort of folklore.
That's
so like Welsh, Irish, Scottish, like a lot of that like heritage from there. So it didn't really shock me. Also, like, who knows how old that person is? Like, they could have been around forever when Gwyn was a super common name everywhere.
One fun annotation I have to make. So the first time I read this, you know, when after, as I've written here, Emma and Julian did the deed, and they're talking the next day, and they're saying about, we can't do this, it's against the law, and like it's like, the law is hard, but it is the law. The first time I ever read this, my brain decided to come up with, the law is hard, and so was Julian. And now every single time I read them talking about it, that is the only thing my brain comes up with.
No.
And it's like my favourite thing I think my brain has ever done, because it just makes me laugh so much every single time.
I mean, it's also true.
It really is.
So that's a thing.
Also, let's talk about Diana. I'm really trying to like delay us having to talk about Malcolm, but Diana, what do we think of Diana?
I need to know what happened in Thailand. What is going on with Diana's brother? And why was I so ready to believe that she had in fact betrayed them?
Oh my god, that bit when it was like, Diana? And it was like, the first time I was like, oh my god, don't be Diana.
Yeah. I genuinely thought, I was like, this bitch.
Well, because I was like, but obviously we were all fully expecting to see Malcolm, and then it was Diana, and I felt like slightly sick. I was like, what do you mean?
I was like, they thought it was this close person who betrayed them, and now it's this person? What? And then it was like, oh no, she's trying to save Tavi. Oh, okay. Oh, cool. It is Malcolm. Back to where we started.
I need more of her secrets though.
Huh?
By more, I mean
you can't tell me, but is she? To me, it sounds like she's mortal.
I mean, I'm not going to answer any questions about Diana.
And I realised that after I said it, but
the only thing I will say is you do find out her secret at some point.
So for me, the fact that she can't be the obviously Shadowhunters can be like the heads of the Shadowhunter Academy. She wasn't, and she turned it down. It's either a disgraced family situation, or like I think she's mortal. She's a
What's her surname?
Rayburn.
Because it's not a Shadowhunter name.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
It is. It's just not one of the ones that we read about very quickly.
It's one that's just like mentioned at some point. Literally, as you were saying, my brain was saying what it actually, what the thing is, and I'm like,
don't let that come out your mouth.
I really wish we could just talk about it. I can't wait for us to get to that live show.
I feel like I've got like no theories, because I feel like so much of the plot of this book was completed within it that I'm just like, where are we going from here? Like, Diana's secrets. We have no body for Malcolm. We have an awake Annabelle.
Annabelle.
We have things going on with the Wild Hunt. They're like, I don't know what's going on there. We have no Helen, but like, that's not a plot. That's just factors. Like, what is the overarching plot? I don't understand. Because I
feel like this trilogy is just gonna keep blowing your mind.
But I'm like, the plot of this one was Malcolm was trying to raise Annabelle. Like, that happened. I don't know how that happened. It seemed to happen. But what happens next? I don't.
Funnily enough, there's a live show in about a month.
I feel like normally I've got some sense of like where we're going. I'm like, okay, so like, Harry's mum is missing and we need to find her. Or like, mechanical monsters are terrorizing London. We need to figure out what's going on. Now I'm just like, some bitch is awake.
But her apparent partner, well, her partner is apparently dead, but I don't think Malcolm is dead. I think he might be kind of, we think he's dead, but he's not like dead. And then they're
I think leaving a dead body with a big handful of hand of God things, bad idea. Like
Yeah.
you should have
100%.
maybe tried to separate those.
Yeah.
My one thing with Malcolm was when at the beginning where like he makes little comments, which when you think back to those comments, you're like, oh, he was really just telling them what his plan was, weren't he? Like he came to like resurrect love. Like he came to LA to resurrect love, and it was like, oh, they think you're talking about just because it's like rom-com movies and stuff, but no, you're actually gonna like try and resurrect your
literally
your
said
life.
I'm resurrecting love, and then I actually am.
And then later on he makes a comment to Emma about necromancy being illegal, like, yes it is, Malcolm, why are you doing it? like it's little things like that. It's like the foreshadowing. It's like, oh, when you read it back you're like, oh, he was literally telling them. Like he didn't even try and hide it. He was like, come back to resurrect love, and it's like, you have. Like, okay.
He spoke so weirdly as well. Like, why did he talk like that?
I don't know. I feel like
he was a writer, didn't he?
Yeah, I feel like he's gone through a lot.
Yeah, I feel like he felt a bit mad, and I was just like, why is no one else picking up on the fact that this man might be crazy?
Do you know what I think it is? It's because they're so used to Magnus being so eccentric and like out there that Malcolm being a bit like it, they just assume that, oh, they've lived hundreds and hundreds of years. It just happens. Which fair, but Tessa is completely normal.
Katerina, also pretty stable.
Yeah. Clearly it's the men.
I mean, you said it, not me.
Yeah, but since Tolkien did elves as Welsh, then it seems to become a thing. I feel like Tolkien wasn't the first one though. Like it goes back years and years of folklore and that. But it's still interesting. I think this was to my comment about the lore is hard and so is Julian. How do you unhear it? You don't. You continue to hear it every single time they say the lore is hard, but it is the lore. Your brain's going to go, so is Julian. Because every single time I hear it, since reading this the first time.
They say it so often.
They really do.
Like by the angel, like the amount of times they say that now, it's just like a reaction in it. It's like anything by the angel, by the angel, by the angel. I'm like, seriously? If you counted how many times they said that phrase?
I really want to go back and just find every point that they say.
Highlight it all.
I don't have the time.
I bet someone's done that before. If we Google it, someone has gone through every book and actually.
You just find someone with a Kindle version and just search the phrase.
That is a very, very good point. I don't have them on Kindle, but if someone does, even if someone has like one and then someone else has another one, and we all just like figure out how like each
amalgamate the knowledge.
This could be a challenge. I'm going to put it in the Discord.
By the angel challenge.
I may have Lady Midnight.
I think I might have Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows. No, I don't have Lord of Shadows.
Lady Midnight was 99p, and that's how I got the audiobook cheap, because when they do the Audible thing.
Yeah. When it hit me that they slept together the night they confessed their feelings for each other, I thought, damn, that was fast. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, this is a different thing. I saw I was too quick, but then I read the rest. Yeah, I feel like it's been something that's been there for like at least 5 years. So it's not really that's a very slow burn.
Yeah,
that's slow burn.
The thing with these two is that obviously he's had feelings since we read about it in the fucking book, where Simon was like, oh, I felt a thing, but I did absolutely nothing about this feeling that I know that is wrong, but it's okay because, you know, it's not going to come back and bite them in the ass for their damn lives.
This doesn't affect me. I'm not going to get involved.
Yeah. I think
Simon is a king.
thought baby Julian needs support and thought, well, I know that if I had this with Clary, it would help me.
Yeah, maybe.
So I think he was like, I'm just going to hope that I didn't see what I saw and things will be okay. Obviously, they're not.
It wasn't until, obviously, the beginning of this book when she saw him again and she was like, oh, he got muscles. Oh, his hair be flowy. His eyes
Also,
be piercing.
Also, how are you tanned? You was in England when they walked back from
England has sun, bitch. It's like, oh, we're on a farm.
I feel like people from America would not tan in England, though. Like,
well, not people from LA.
Yeah.
True.
Obviously, it was from like a part of America there's no sun. Then yeah.
If you're from like Michigan, sure, but like LA.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it just be a different kind of. It just hits different. So it just tans him. I don't know.
I was too quick to believe she actually betrayed them because Cassie has given us trust issues.
I mean,
I did
example was also in this book.
I was like, he's been planted. This is a trick.
Well, even they sort of thought, "What is it, a spy?"
Yeah,
it's like, is he just spying on us? Like, I feel Diana would have been worse. She's the character I don't know too much about, so I'm excited to know more. Every mention of her just made me think of that damn doll. Why was the name Annabelle? Why? Just why?
So she could use the Edgar Allan Poe poem.
I'm keeping stum about Diana. Yeah. Emma had me screaming at the end when she decided to push Julian away instead of telling the truth. But the thing is, with how much he was
screaming in the middle when he was just like, "Yeah, I don't love you like that." Like, who are you fooling? Who?
Yeah, both of them were just idiots.
I understand Emma at the end. I didn't really understand Julian in the middle because he'd already like crossed that line. Like,
I feel like Emma was very smart with that at the end because not only had like she'd been told the whole, oh, it's easier to like make them think you don't love them than to make them stop loving you, but also Julian was very much trying to find an excuse to like a solution to every single thing she said. If she was like, we can't do this, like there's a curse for Paradise, like
forbidden love thing, wasn't it? Like forbidden love doesn't make you want it more. So like that would have not helped them. Like
that would not have stopped Julian wanting to try. So she had to hurt him. She had to be like, later, I'm gonna go off with your brother.
His boy's soul.
Yeah, but what I do like that she wasn't like, I'm gonna go and just like make Mark like me. She was honest with Mark. She was like, I can't tell you why, but we need to I need to pretend that we're dating, and it has to be you. Like, at least she didn't try and like, yeah. At least she did. She might not have been able to tell Mark the whole truth, but at least she didn't like use Mark without his knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, Emma.
Yeah, true.
The fake dating felt like something Clary would do. Talking of, Clary dated Simon and used Simon. So this is why I like Emma more than Clary.
Yeah, but Tessa's always going to be my number one girl.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I'm not completely obsessed with Cordelia, but you know, it's different.
They're smart. They're actually, they use their brains.
Yeah.
I also accepted Malcolm's weirdness because of Magnus. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was difficult for me to accept Malcolm's weirdness.
This could have been the hard Laura Long instead.
No, thank you.
If these were adult books, if these were adult books, maybe. They are not.
Was a very closed door. Sexy.
Very much fade to black.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a lot of what happens in the Dark Artifices wouldn't have been a problem if the Clave would just butt out and stop being so hateful to Downworlders? Yeah. There would be no story whatsoever.
Yeah, there would literally be nothing. Because
the circle was created because Valentine hated Downworlders.
Yeah.
There's the first series. Mortmain hated the Clave because, they killed his warlock parents.
Yeah.
The list keeps going on. There's a common denominator, the Clave.
They're all wankers.
You were about to be like, this villain, and you were like, actually, can't
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to stop right there. I'm not... I could have also added in Malcolm because Malcolm.
Yeah.
Because that's not a spoiler. We found that out in this book.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just like, I'm trying to think if I've got any. Oh, this is a really cute one. It's like my favourite quote ever. And I'm like, it's Julian. And I love Julian so much.
Speaking of Julian, can we talk about his paintings? His secret studio?
This right here is the quote. Why all these paintings of you? Because I'm an artist, Emma. These pictures are my heart. And if my heart was a canvas, every square inch of it would be painted over with you.
And when she was like, why have you not shown anyone these? And he was like, if they saw, they would know. I'm like, yeah, they would.
That was just like a cute moment. And again, in my brain, that would be a perfect scene in a film.
Oh my god, no! I was going to say that at the beginning of the live show. I was like, this one scene where they're in the studio and she's looking around at pictures of herself is so the cinematography of it could be excellent.
Yeah. And then,
but at the same time, I don't want them to touch this series.
Yeah, I know.
Because they've ruined the Mortal Instruments twice. I don't need them to take my favourite series and throw it in the dumpster.
Yeah. Yeah, I do get that, but in my brain, I'm just like panning the pictures, then looking at back to her face, and looking at Julian stood there being like all shy and shit, and then just like the vibes and the feelings and.
Emma and Julian wouldn't have had to be parapeted to stay together if it weren't for the Clave, because if you think about it, right, take Will as an example. Will. Not technically an orphan child because, his parents were mundanes. He left. He went to the institute. He stayed in an institute with his family, not blood related. So if it weren't for the Clave, Emma wouldn't have had to feel like, oh, I'm going to be shipped off to the academy. Like, she would have been okay to stay in the institute where she has lived all her life. But no, the Clave was like, well, you're gonna have, your parents are gone. You're going to have to go to the academy and leave everything you know. Like, no. Institutes are there for a reason.
Yeah.
Rude.
I've seen that in multiple books previously. Like, you don't have to go to the academy if there's someone else who will look after you.
Jace is another example. Jace was shipped off to the institute when he was 10.
Yeah. I think it was open then, though. Was the academy closed by that point?
Oh yeah, okay, fair. But the academy was open when Will was sent.
Yeah.
Will wasn't sent there. He just turned up on their doorstep.
Yeah, this is
hey.
I'm stay here now.
There must be one in Wales. There has to be.
I thought there must be.
It's a whole country, and they're very proud people.
Must be. There must be.
Well, they've just never been mentioned. There's
they're gonna message Cassie and be like, "Is there?"
I
feel like he wanted to get as far away as possible though, so he was like, "I'm gonna go to London."
There has to be one in
Edinburgh. I mean, there's one in York because obviously,
we've been to it.
They visit the York Institute. There's one in Cornwall.
Odd place for an institute.
Yeah, random place.
Trying to take we
need to find out.
So they have a very proud.
We need to find out.
What was that, Meg?
Cornwall were also their own country for a while. They've got a very proud heritage there. They might have not wanted to get rid of that.
I think the Clave would still interfere. Everyone has politics, and politics breeds corruption.
True that, Caroline.
They would definitely cut the scene with the painting, even though it is the most perfect scene. But
I don't know if they would. It it's like a turning point in their relationship. Like, where she's like, oh, I can see how much you love me.
Yeah.
Like, this is tangible proof. This isn't just words. Like, you can cut any amount of like pretty dialogue from a show, but it was like a moment in which he revealed this secret that he'd been keeping forever. No one was allowed to go in, not even his parabatai, like the person who's closest to him in the world.
Yeah.
I was just.
Well, hopefully we never have to find out.
Yeah.
Because I hope they never adapt this ever. If the Clave was more of an understanding of people in general, it would have been so much better. Yeah.
Then we wouldn't
very
have,
much on
we
their
wouldn't have an extra big bad to hate, would we? Well, they are a big bad, even though they claim to be good. They don't. They are the villains, or one of the sets of villains in this story.
Yeah. My main other note was the Mark when they were getting ready to go like confront Malcolm, get Tavi back, and Mark asked for a rune.
I'm like, you be accepted, you be a shadow hunter. Yeah.
I was like, great. Yes, Mark, you get runed up, please. Now, do it. I was so happy when that happened.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, and then did I have another one? Another note. I feel like we've gone.
I had so many thoughts in my head earlier today, and I didn't write any of them down because I was like, I need to finish it. Now I'm just like, there was so much more I wanted to say, and I don't remember what.
Yeah, I feel like there was. I feel like I had.
I have a solid 2 pages of notes, and we've somehow managed to talk about all of them. I also, I didn't write this one down, but it's gone out of my brain again. It's just completely left my brain as I'm about to say it. Oh, Jesus. What was it?
I need everyone to go dancing again when everyone is, everything is resolved and everyone is happier, because no one was happy during that dance scene initially. Like, everyone was a bit tense. Julian was super jealous that Emma was dancing with Mark.
Yeah.
Everyone was so good at dancing. I need them to just go out and have a good time and just like dance together.
100% agree.
I don't see it happening, but like that's what's going on in my brain.
Character development. I think Mark quickly acts like he would do anything for his family. I mean, he says their name every night before sleep. Right. This is my brain just remembered the thing I was going to say. The moment Emma realizes it's Malcolm, and then Drew turns up like, yo, and it's like, there's Tavi. It's like, with Malcolm, and it was like, no, Drew, but it's not Drew's fault. But then like the guilt Drew must be feeling from that, like, I left my baby brother with the guy who's trying to like hurt us, but like it's not Drew's fault because
Emma's parents.
Yeah, like how was any of them supposed to know that it was Malcolm? Because he did such a good job at being all nicey nice with them.
After all those kids have been through, you're just like, you've not been through enough. Just gonna build up your trust over many a year, and then just stab you in the back.
And the fact that when him and Emma were like having their little standoff, and she was like, "Why my parents?" It's like they were there.
Oh, that's
like
that.
And
it was convenient. Like, not even a reason.
It was convenient because it was an easy cover up if it went wrong, and also like they were just a test to see if the spell would work, which is why there was so long between them and the next murder. And it was like,
no.
I feel like it is interesting though to have like him trying to get the love of his life back be the motivation, because we've seen people in the Shadowhunter series go to great lengths to keep the person they're in love with alive. Like Jem was a silent brother for how long because he was dying? Jace died.
Yeah.
Simon also died and became a vampire. Like, people are very like not opposed to making choices.
I mean,
that bring people back from like death or the brink of death. Like
Emma and the rune that she was like trying to heal him ended up turning into some fucking poison burning.
Like they knew the rune wasn't working, but Julian was still like keep trying, and Emma was keep trying. Like,
and then the shiny that wasn't.
Then it worked suddenly, and it's like, why is this working? You should be dead.
Yeah, that was done with that like conscious thought though. Like Clary literally took a wish from an angel that could have like helped all of humanity and brought the guy she was in love with back from the dead. Like the heroes in this, in like the entire Shadowhunter Chronicles, are willing to go to very great lengths to save people from death. And I just think it's really interesting that was the motivation of Malcolm. Like, obviously, we hate him. He did terrible things to the Blackthorn family, but I can't help but be like, oh, but I kind of get it though. Like, I do see our main characters doing exactly the same thing, but sort of stopping short of what he did.
Yeah, I do get that.
Knowing Cassie, I was so panicked at this point. I was like, I swear to God, if you hurt a hair on Tavi's head.
I was like, I would just not read the rest of it. Like, I'll be done here.
It's like, do I close this book now? Am I okay now? Tavi's okay.
My heart dropped. Also,
a room reading Clockwork Princess. Like, I would have just stopped. I'm only 3 episodes into Game of Thrones season 8. I'm happy to do that.
Leave it there, it's fine. My heart dropped. Also, why always the Blackthorns? Like Lisa said, they've been through enough. I mean,
I feel like a lot of the main Shadowhunter families have been through enough.
Yeah, but like we do sort of know why it's the Blackthorns. There is a reason. Malcolm hasn't just picked a random family to terrorize. Like, yes, he needs to understand the actions of those children have no relation to the actions of their
that's the bit I don't get. Like the disconnect in his brain is just like,
but like it being the Blackthorns makes perfect sense to his motivations. Like there is a reason it's Blackthorns, but it doesn't take away the fact that leave the poor children alone. Dear God.
They didn't do anything to hurt you. Like back in the day, then yes. If you could go back in time and hurt them, then fucking hurt them. But leave.
This right here is why I was so scared for Tavin the first time I read this. Because we know at this point, she ain't afraid to kill off a child. Like, she will kill that child if it's gonna like help the plot. Yeah. And I was terrified for Tavi. I was like, I swear to God, I would hurt you if you kill any of these, but don't touch the child again. Leave the child be.
Yeah, I was ready. I was waiting for him to be the one that was like sacrificed for the greater good, because like they got everyone else out. Everyone else is safe, but I was waiting for it to be like they couldn't save Tavi, because obviously, like you said, what happened to Max, I was like, she's gonna do it again, isn't she? She's gonna rip my heart out my chest and stamp on it.
Yeah, but the others have never hurt an innocent swap for their love. Yeah. So that they stop before it gets to that point.
And I think thematically that's why it's so interesting, but also we've never seen them get to that point. Like, we don't know if they wouldn't. Like, I feel like you get to the point where maybe you would make those terrible choices.
I feel like Jace would. Like, I feel like if more instruments had been done like the other way around and like Clary was like gonna die, Jace would do literally anything. Wouldn't care about the consequences or who else got hurt, as long as the people he loves are okay.
I feel like Julian would. I feel like Julian is on the precipice of just like, he could make some really bad choices to take care of his family. And I feel like that's what makes like the dynamics so interesting.
I mean, you've already seen the lengths he will go to protect his family, like getting this like potion thing for Arthur that it gives him a splitting headache, but it helps him get through like the little time he needs to be an adult and the like head of the institute. Will do anything to make sure that his family stay together and are safe and okay, like including like selling out Nightshade about pizzas. Dark magic. Like he will go to I feel like he's proving that he will go to any lengths.
Yeah.
And you can see that does stare at her. She's mentioned it, hasn't she, that it's sort of, she's like, do I really know my Parabatag? Like, I did not expect him to do something like that. That makes him wonder if he's gonna do something further down the line, because it's not just a one-off thing that was mentioned, like, oh, he's done that, but you know, it's done it a couple of times where she's been like, oh, like, this is a side of Julian I haven't seen, or this is a side of Julian I didn't expect, or you know, I didn't think he'd go to these lengths, and like he's been lying to me and keeping things from me. And I know, fair enough, she kept her feelings from him, but that's different. Like, he was hiding the fact that his uncle was
he hid a lot from her.
I think that's one of my favorite things about Cassie Clare love interest, though, is that like you've got Julian, who has these two sides of him. You have like Will, who has like what he shows to people and what's actually happening. Like, I love like that they each have like so much going on under the surface that like you don't see until like the breaking point.
They're not just one-dimensional characters, they are two-dimensional characters. Yeah. I
know, but Tabby. Oh, I did expect him to be dead.
Yeah.
False pretenses. Would he sacrifice Alec for Clary or the other way round? I feel like I'm manifesting Cassie to more evil to us. No, we can't take more. I don't want to manifest that because I don't want her to somehow hear and get the idea. There is still one more trilogy to go after this. Like, we're not talking about Eldest Curses or Last Hours. Like, there is a whole series that has that whole trilogy that takes place after this that is still to come, and I'm scared. God. Like, I'm not ready because it's going to be the last Shadowhunters books probably ever, and I'm not ready, especially if she pulls this sort of thing. Like, no. I
can't deal with that. Nope.
We don't need to manifest that. We don't speak that out loud. Like, she is never going to watch this. But Cassie, if you watch, please don't.
It's okay to not do the things that we say in this. Just make it a really nice, happy, rom-commy type of series, you know. You know, a third act blip. And a blip, I mean, as in like, you know, they say something nasty to each other in a heated argument and then everything's okay. Not a blip as in someone's unalived. Just like, no.
Absolutely not. With there being one more series, we are not manifesting any bad scenarios. And the thing is, if it was just the third Eldest Curses book left, it would be like, well, we know that's probably going to be set somewhere in amongst the timeline of all of these. So, like, we know that nothing majorly massive could happen in that. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't trust her.
I got issues.
We want good vibes only. Because authors like Cassandra Clare might be incredible, but they are the reason I have trust issues. Part of the reason, not the whole reason. They don't get all the credit, but they are a big reason I have trust issues.
Very that.
I don't think I have any more comments to add. I think I've gone through everything.
Oh, God.
For this book.
I don't want to read on, but I do.
Well, to be fair, you can read Lord of Shadows now at any point because we've had the live show for this.
I can't because I'm going to cry.
Yeah, you are. I will say, whatever you do, Lord of Shadows and Queen of Rain Darkness, if you're going to read them during sprints, turn your camera off. We saw, like, when I finished Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy on sprints, and I had to turn my camera off, and when we come back from a sprint, my eyes were so red.
I cried on the live.
We all shed a tear on that live. Like, yeah. I'm ready to call an end to the Shadowhunters over. I was reading this when I was pregnant with my daughter. God, that's scary to think about. Oh, I'm very nervy for Lord of Shadows. I'm ready for Lord of Shadows, but really, I'm not. I'm really not. I honestly, I feel like, you know how we start the live shows and we try and we fail, but we try and stick to like the events happening in order. Yeah, that's not going to happen with Lord of Shadows. I already know the first thing we're going to talk about in that live show. And I'm not going to be the one to start the conversation. I want to see who it is going to be. But I'm honestly I'm so excited.
I'm so fucking scared.
I am excited to talk about this book because it is like probably out of every single book in this series, when I say series, I mean the Shadowhunter Chronicles as a whole. My favourite is Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. Then it is Queen of Rain Darkness, Ghost of the Shadow Market, and then Lord of Shadows. It's very, very high up. And I'm so excited.
It's a pretty version.
Have already been made to cry once this week by Cassandra Clare. I'm not ready.
Right. Meg, please don't read Lord of Shadows this week.
Yeah. I feel like I need a break.
How many pages is it?
Maybe wait.
Oh.
Maybe don't leave it until the week of the live show. But maybe the week before the live show.
I think is fine, as long as it's not the day of the live show.
That is very fair.
I got up at noon yesterday and forgot I had to read this until like the evening.
To be fair, it was Cassie's fault for bringing out Chain of Thorns.
It was.
Like the week of our live show. I think that's really rude.
Yeah, and I couldn't not read it.
699 pages. But then
look at the pages. Close the book. Okay, no, but please, I don't want you to accidentally spoil yourself. If you need to know how many pages, ask me. I'll get my book and tell you. Whatever you do, do not.
It's got 2 bonus chapters.
I know. Don't look. Don't look. Don't chance it.
I'm okay. I didn't say anything.
After having read Lady Midnight, though, definitely do not read Chain of Gold first.
Yeah. But, like, everyone's like, oh, but it's set way before. It doesn't matter. Does not matter. The way Cassie's written them this way for a reason. Like, not cry, sob, wail, maybe beat your chest. Oh, yeah. Bring on James Master's audiobook.
Oh, he's got a lot of shadows in it.
Becky, you're not helping my fear of this book.
I'm in the middle of Lightblade. I need to finish Lightblade and then move on to my Indian Cohort books because they need to be in by the end of February. I've got 6 to read and I've not read any of them.
Do we know when the next live show will be? We do not know the exact date yet, but it will most likely be the first week of March. Maybe... I'm thinking maybe either the 2nd or 9th of March.
It can't be the 2nd because that's going to be when you're on sprints, the kickoff. Marathon sprint.
Oh yeah, it's March next month. It will probably be the 9th. We will work it out though, and I will try and schedule it in advance so that we actually, I can let people know, and not leave it till the last minute like I usually do. I think, do you know what? I feel like if you're on the Discord, let's just make the Lord of Shadows chat a group therapy session. Like, remember to use the spoiler tags, but feel free. I will be checking in with you regularly in there. How's everyone doing?
Check on your friends, guys. Check on your friends.
I'll try to be here. Got to go switch it for a new phone, but see you on Discord or on the next live. Thank you for popping in. But on that note, I think that is everything we can say about this book. I mean, there's more I could say about this book, but it would not be good for you because it would be spoilery.
What do you think's going to happen?
Oh no.
I mean, what do you think's going to happen?
I feel like I've already had this rant where everything is too wrapped up for me to have an idea.
I think, yes, a lot of things are wrapped up, but I think / hope. Well, no, I think, first of all, I think Annabelle's going to be, like, alive and then, like, looking for Malcolm, thinking that he's dead, finding out they think that he's dead. She's going to be, like, causing chaos because she's like, my love brought me back. I know he's dead. I hate you all. And then, like, she's going to, like, be all aggressive and shit. And then...
I really hope he's super reasonable. And it's like, okay, Malcolm did some fucked up shit. How about I try and atone?
I think she's going to be, like, crazy banshee bitch. And then Emma and Mark are going to be like, we're together. And Julie's going to be all jealous. And then they're going to finally admit that, you know, she's going to admit that the thing is forbidden because it does something to the magic and it does something about magic to the runes, and then instead of Crazy and Julian were like, oh my god, I still want to be with you anyway, they're going to find a way around the paradise thing, and then they're going to be a couple.
I absolutely love how you was talking at like triple speed and they're going to be a couple.
And Mark's going to get with Christina because Perfect Diego can go fuck himself. Or you get yourself off a cliff, either way.
Ugly
I did not dislike Kieran. I think Kieran has the chance to redeem himself. I think that Annabelle is going to cause some problems. Like, I hope she doesn't. I really hope she's just super reasonable and it's like, oh, the claim did me dirty. Malcolm made some mistakes. How about y'all just let me fuck off back to Cornwall and I just like chill? And I have no idea what the main overarching plot of the series is. Like, because Malcolm's like end was Annabelle is alive. Did he have some like ruthless plot to take over the world for afterwards? Like, had they been scheming back in Cornwall in the 1800s? I don't know.
I've not had much coffee, but I'm really excited to read what's going to happen. But also, I think, Kieran could just be the ex-boyfriend and has become a friend.
No,
but I want Mark and Christina.
We want a throuple.
It's not gonna. It's Cassie. It's not gonna be an actual throuple, is it? It's gonna be like hinted possibly.
What I've learned from her Infernal Devices days, but everyone was like,
"Oh, babe, we know that she would have done. We know it's YA. It's literally only just come a thing now to be a throuple, and even now people are still like, "Oh my god, you've got adult romance with a throuple." So
I don't think they sound like that.
It won't be in a YA as much as we might like it, but I want Mark and Christina to be an Endgame.
Oh, Endgame, that film you still haven't.
Knew what you were gonna say.
Yeah, we need to end this stream. We're going off on a tangent now. I will post once we have a date for the next live show, and thank you everyone for joining. Bye.
Gracias.